Hey, y'all, welcome to another episode of the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert. My guest today is a marketing visionary that has contributed to the success of such brands as Toro, Geek Squad, Polaris, Cargill, and currently a locally based pool products manufacturer, King Technology. I'm thrilled to share with you the journey of my friend, Jackie Rieck. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. One thing I was so excited about having you on when I met you, I knew you were going to be a future podcast guest because you have such a great personality and your journey is interesting because you've gone from doing all those corporate gigs like I talked about, and now you're working on, a growing business that's I'm not going to call corporate though because it still is considered an SMB. So there's so much we can take from all that stuff, but your journey's cool. But all that stuff aside, you're a rock star. Like, you're super funny and you swear just as much as I do, which I love. So anybody who's listening to this, if you don't like a few swear words, you might want to just jump episodes and go to the next one and just click the links in the show notes to learn about Jackie. Jackie, I'm pumped to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
Good. And based on our phone call yesterday, a little nervous. So we're gonna hammer through we're gonna hammer through the journey and all the fun stuff, and that'll get you comfy because then when 9 questions comes, you can get all sweaty again.
All right, let's go.
All right. So you are boy, you were born and raised not too far from where I live now. We're basically as country rules go, we're neighbors. We're within a half an hour of each other. Waconia, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
where'd you go to high school?
So I was born and raised in Waconia, and I went to high school in Waconia as well.
Wow.
Fabulous town. We love it here. It's a great place to raise a family, and it's
Yeah.
close enough to the cities where you can do all those things, but then we can retreat back to the country.
How far from where you grew up is your place now?
Probably less than 10 miles.
Okay. So you're relatively
So it's pretty
close.
close. And all my family is close too, and Jeff's
Oh yeah.
family.
Oh yeah. Nice. So it's all right. It's all right there.
Yeah.
I have a saying that I say, like, I love making my money in the city and spending it in the country. And I think you share that same vibe to where there's just something about country living that having our little hobby farms. You have like a legit farm that you guys do on the side. We'll get into that, but there's just something special about that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we love it. It's just peaceful. And Jeff and I love to like mow lawn and do our gardens. And, it's just, we both grew up in the country when we were young, and we continued it on, and we absolutely love it here.
What was your family dynamic growing up? Mom, dad, siblings, things like that?
Yep, traditional Catholic family.
Mm,
My mom and dad actually just celebrated 50 years in December. But yeah, we grew up in this area. I have an older sister, Jenny, and we live here. We went to school here. We don't work in this area. We work in the city. I love your saying of make money in the city and spend it in the country. That's absolutely what we do.
yeah,
But yeah, we're Catholic family. Both my parents were the traditional farm families. So
yeah,
that country and that authentic and those roots definitely were instilled in both Jeff and I.
yeah. Were you a troublemaker as a kid, or were you pretty good?
Let's just say I pushed limits, and I still might push some limits. But I was
Yeah,
a great student, straight A student. Thank goodness my parents had the wisdom to keep me busy in sports, and my
mm.
sister, because we tended to push some limits.
Yeah. I kind of get a vibe that you probably were a pretty good athlete. Am I pretty close? Am I like I can tell, but just by your drive and you can, I don't know. There's just something weird. I think once you get to know people, like you can pick up on some kind of something that they have if they were athletes. Yes.
Yes, yes. I was a big volleyball player. That was just in our family and our genes. My sister played as well. I played volleyball, basketball, and softball. But probably around my freshman, sophomore year, I dropped basketball and just really focused on junior Olympic, which we call club volleyball now.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was traveling around the country at about age 12.
Wow.
And it was just passion. My parents loved it. It was just like this little community. And the competitive spirit, the drive, when you fall down, you get back up. And yeah, that was definitely ingrained. And volleyball's still a sport I love today. I love to go watch my nieces play, watch it on TV. It's just something that my family still loves.
I had Eric Norman on the show about a month ago, a month and a half ago, or something like that, and he's, you know him well. He's the facilitator for your C9 group, but he was a swimmer, and he talked a lot about the lessons learned, and because he was a high performing athlete as well, and so the lessons learned in sports through those ages of kind of formidable years as you're shaping yourself had such a profound impact on him as he grew into business and leadership and things like that. You're nodding your head for anybody who's watching this on YouTube. I have to believe that it was the same vibe.
Absolutely. That parlays, it was my foundation of life. When you're that young, that competitive spirit, that drive, the camaraderie of teams, leading teams, whether you're the captain or not, absolutely that parlayed into who I am and how I lead as in marketing and my teams. It's just, there's so many life lessons. And I'm really glad that my two sons are also in team sports, because there's so many lessons, and it's not all roses. There's lots of days. My dad used to always say, every dog has its day if I didn't have the game that I wanted. And that was kind of his way of saying, yep, it is what it is. Get back out there tomorrow and make it happen.
I asked Eric this question too, and so I'm gonna fire it away at you. What do you look back on in your time of being a student athlete as being one of the things you're most proud of, or an accomplishment you're most proud of?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. There's probably a few things that I'm proud of, not any one. And you know what? It's not an accomplishment. It was probably, I'm more proud of the grit and that competitive spirit in leading. When you're 14, 15, 16, and you're a leader on the team, that is probably what I'm most proud of in leading through, whether we're behind in a match and we come out on with a win. I think it's all of those things. It certainly isn't, we went to state and all that kind of stuff. It was probably more about how I led and how I was able to get back up when we didn't have the game that we wanted.
You use the word grit and so resiliency and all of those things, and a lot of the times I basically every episode I like to dive into a couple things, nature versus nurture, which sounds to me like it's a little bit of a blend based on the upbringing that you had in your family and things like that, but I also like to talk about paradigm shifting events. And yours, typically when we have someone on, it happens sometimes in their 20s or 30s or something like that. Yours happened really early on, and it was something that was pretty massive experience. Dig into that a little bit, because it did have a super profound effect on you and shape the rest of your life.
Yes, absolutely. So the hardest lesson of my life was at 16. And I can share my story, is that once people know my story, they're like, that makes so much sense. So I was a big athlete, had all my eggs in the volleyball basket. I had offers to D1 schools. People were contacting me at 16. And on June 17th, 1994, I was in a really bad car accident. I was hit head on by a semi on the freeway, 3 blocks in front of my house. And long story short, it was very tragic. I was in ICU down at HCMC, and really shattered everything from my hips down. So 6 months in a wheelchair, 2.5 years on crutches, 18 surgeries later. A lot of life lessons came out of that, and I'm very grateful for my parents. They dropped everything for months. I mean, we had to buy a van because I was in a wheelchair. They built a ramp into the house. My mom was my nurse, administering meds, washing my hair in the living room while I'm in the hospital bed. So just so many, it sounds odd, but it was very hard. because all my identity was in Jackie Bull, the volleyball player, right? And that was kind of how I defined myself. And in an instant moment, that's taken away from you.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to redefine yourself. I had to, it took a while. At 16, 17, 18, you're still trying to figure life out, and then that's thrown at you. But I'm also grateful for my family, and that my family is a tight-knit family the way it is. But that just brought us closer together. And I have so much gratitude now as a parent. I cannot imagine getting that call they basically said they're going to take her to Waconia to stabilize her because they didn't know if I'd make it to HCMC. So they told my parents, meet her at HCMC, and that's the journey started. And one of the biggest lessons that my parents instilled in me, it was, there is no option. You're going to get better. You are going to have a great life. It was always out the windshield, always looked out the windshield. You don't look in the rearview mirror, because if I did, it would be woe is me, and there's nothing good that's going to come out of that. Yeah. So it was just, that's where that grit, that determination, I can do this, never quit type of attitude was instilled very young.
Yeah, you think about 1994, we're right around the same age. And I look back at those times where I got to imagine the physical toll was one thing, but then the mental toll had to be a whole nother set of things. And to have, your parents being your rock, getting you through that. And right now, as we sit now in 2023, mental health and mental wellness is such a hot topic. Where in 1994, like, you didn't talk about any of that shit, right? Like, it was just like, buckle up, buttercup, like, you need to get going. And so it sounds to me like that was even the mindset that was instilled in you, is like, listen, there's no other option but to move forward. And you, that was your option for mental wellness, was to have that future focused support system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, my faith, that was a big thing too, that we're grounded in that. I had an awesome family, great support. But yeah, we didn't talk about mental health. And that absolutely was the hardest part. I had to redefine myself.
Yeah.
I never considered not being, this big athlete and going to college. That was never an option. So I had to quickly figure out, well, what the hell am I going to do now? So it was life or death. Once you get through that, I'm going to live. Yes, I'm kind of Humpty Dumpty broke. But once you get past that, I'm thinking, I have life ahead of me. What am I going to do? How am I going to redefine myself? And in hindsight, it's probably a good thing that it happened to me. I wouldn't have my career and my education, married to Jeff and my family. So a lot of good came out of it. But boy, that was one hell of a lesson.
Yeah,
that was, it breaks you down to, you're on your knees, and it's like, I didn't have options. It was either that or the alternative is not very attractive. So I had to get after it and figure it out.
Did you double down then? Once you started to get to a point where you were able to go back to school and things like that, did you really double down on education, knowing that was going to be the path for you? Or did you still have aspirations of getting back into doing anything else, or where did you go from there?
Well, I knew I was never going to be a competitive athlete again. I knew that. But that doesn't mean my competitive spirit isn't there. So it probably took me 2 years to figure out what I wanted to do. And education was always something that was instilled in us. Jenny and I were very great students. It was very important. My mom was in corporate, knew the value of all that kind of stuff. So from an education perspective, I actually started out pre-med and quickly realized that shit's not for me. Like the whole chemistry, which is really ironic because now I'm in the chemistry business. So that's totally ironic. Right. But I switched, and I still remember my mom was in China and I was at St. Cloud University, and I was down, totally down, crying. I couldn't, just stuck, and I didn't know how to get out. And that's part of the process of redefining yourself and, asking yourself some pretty tough questions. and just figuring it out. And that's when I decided I was going to transfer to Carlson School of Management. And I finished my undergrad there with marketing and finance. And then I completed my grad school there as well a few years later. So I don't know how I got through it. I think it's just great support. Dealing with the tough stuff that came with that. And then I just figured out, you know what, I want to go into business. And once that decision was made, it was heads down. I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah, I think getting into that school, I think is one thing, and then being able to thrive and come out of it with something positive is a whole nother set of challenges as well. So just kind of summarize your experience at Carlson. What was that whole vibe for you?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I think the University of Minnesota is a huge campus. But the Carlson, it's it almost felt like kind of small town. It's not the 100,000 students, it's much smaller, and there's a community there. And that was kind of my place. Those were my people. And, they encourage collaboration. So some of my best friends I met in business school and still have relationships with them. And for me, that was a pivotal moment in my life. And obviously it set me up for my career. But I have great memories of Carlson.
Sweet. Well, we're going to dig into your, so right after Carlson, you started your career and you dove in head first. So we're going to take a quick break here, listen to a few of our community supporters, and then we're going to come back and dive into your career trajectory. For more than 20 years, Kaisa has been the trusted financial advisor for women, business owners, executives, and high net worth families, developing financial plans designed to meet them where they are and propel them to where they want to be. Their mission is to remove the worry and stress associated with financial planning and replace it with clarity and confidence. The Kaisa team takes the time to understand each client's unique situation, from financial concerns to the visions that they have for current and future generations, in order to create a truly customized plan. Through consistent communication and personal attentiveness, Kaisa is fiercely devoted to personal well-being and financial prosperity. Get to know the Kaisa team and how they can serve you at kaisawealth.com. When you think of a typical CPA firm, you probably think of tax planning. Well, that just scratches the surface of what Boulay offers their clients. By providing smart, in-depth thinking from experts in accounting, audit, tax, and business consulting, they know what it takes to achieve financial success. Whether it's protecting your business, building your wealth, or securing your future, you can count on Boulay to go beyond addressing just financial matters and providing you with tailor-made, workable solutions. Learn about all they have to offer at bouleygroup.com. Boulay, helping you get there. All right, everybody needs a bank. Not just any bank, a good community bank. From personal needs like checking and savings accounts to business services like financing and M&A support, the team at Flagship Bank is there to provide you with the assistance you need so you can spend less time thinking about your finances and more time enjoying what your money can do for you. To learn more, head over to Flagship Banks, that's flagshipbanks with an S.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Flagship Bank, investing in you. Regardless if you're a startup just figuring things out or a medium-sized organization with a full team, having a legal partner by your side is crucial. Seiler Law is fiercely loyal to their clients and are passionate about removing headaches and roadblocks that can pop up during the growth of your business. Whether you need general outside counsel, are planning a business transaction, or even need someone to guide you through the estate planning process, the team at Seiler Law are the advocates for you. Visit seilerlaw.com to learn more. Seiler Law, where experience meets pragmatism. All right, we're back with Jackie Rieck. Jackie, I think all the things that you've been through make you hyper resilient, and working in corporate, of rattling off some of those names, those brands that I said, has had to make you, to have some thick skin as you started to work in that corporate environment. So what was your first real gig out of Carlson?
My first job was at Toro, and I was in the consumer division on the riding products business, and fantastic company. I had a great coach, David Alkire. I'm still uber thankful for him. Great coach. Allowed me to really learn the business and kind of cut my teeth, and really stretched me. I mean, I had no business at 24 years old running the businesses that I did. And, made lots of mistakes, lots of coaching opportunities, and had a lot of successes and some key learnings that really set me up for my career in marketing. So fantastic company, great culture. And in my role, I had the ability to get, P&L experience, product development, communications, advertising, just so many aspects, research, so many aspects of marketing that I fell in love with. And that's, if you see that through my career, it really instilled a love of marketing for me. And I'm super grateful for Toro and the leadership there.
I think even when you're young and you're going through school and you're in your younger 20s and you hear the term marketing, I think marketing is such a nebulous word that it just means so many different things to so many different people. What do you think was maybe one of your ahas as you got into Toro, and you spent a good amount of time there? You spent 5 or 6 years there. So what was in there, your time there? When was there an aha moment where you're like, oh, I get, this is marketing?
Yeah. You're so right that it has so many people define marketing very differently. And for me, I always used to think it's kind of like brochureware, right? And for those folks that view it that way, I think there's a lot lost. And for me, what I learned is that it is a strategic function. If it's not a strategic function, you are not maximizing marketing. So in my career, it's always, where do you find the unmet need? And then you got to first find the unmet need, because the competition is so great. It's no longer build it and they will come. So you got to find the unmet need, figure out how you can meet that better than anybody else. And then comes, P&L management, product development, research, communications, advertising, PR, digital, all that comes. But if you can't find that unmet need and that differentiated position, it's going to be really tough. Then you're competing on things like price, and that's a race to the bottom. So that was a key learning for me, is that it is a strategic function. And if you look at all, like, my career, I've been at all, like, differentiated value add consumer brands. And yeah, that's where I've spent my time. That's where I've really carved out that space for me, and have learned a lot. I've learned a lot.
So you spent a good amount of time, like I said a little earlier, at Toro. And it probably was a great experience if you were there that long. What made you decide that you wanted to try something new?
Yeah, so I was there about 6.5 years, and I had just graduated from grad school, and I just wanted something different. And I loved the company, but I just wanted to get a different view and see what else was out there. So that's when I went to something very different, Geek Squad. So at Toro, you had a product, and you can control the product and the quality and all that kind of stuff. When you go into a service business with 17,000 agents, much different game. And how you approach it, how you communicate it, the value that you bring to the consumer was very different. And I had a great experience as well, and learned a lot about the retail business, and also learned a lot about service development and creating a culture. Because really, at the end of the day, that's how you have to, I would say, manage and support 17,000 agents. You had to have a really strong culture. And that is absolutely what Geek Squad was.
I have to imagine Geek Squad being just a division of Best Buy, or there was that cross ownership there. That did it have its own, like, mini culture? Was it really entrepreneurial minded? Right, where I look at Best Buy as kind of a behemoth to where everything moves. It's kind of hard to turn the Titanic. Did you have the ability to make some quick decisions and do some cool shit?
Yes, we did. So now this is back in 2004, 5. So a long time ago. I don't know how it's evolved now, but back then, absolutely. This Geek Squad, I was in the very early days when it wasn't rolled out to all Best Buy stores. So we were protected in a sense that we were encouraged and allowed to make decisions. This was Best Buy's last chance at service. They've tried several times, wasn't successful. And then Geek Squad kind of had this idea and the vision, And we were able to make a lot of decisions, a lot of testing, an ability to do several different things before you basically tee it up to roll it out. And back then it was just computers. It wasn't home theater. It wasn't any of that. So absolutely entrepreneurial. A lot of resources were put against it. And like 3 years later, the business went from like 0 to 700 million and great profit. So it was quite a ride. It was quite a ride, but it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So after you spent some time at Geek Squad, you jumped over to Polaris. So you went back to a consumer brand, selling things, right? So manufactured products like were you working in any type of specific like side by sides or snowmobiles or anything like that?
Yep. I was in what they called the off-road business. So it was side by sides and ATVs.
Yeah, cool. Is that
Yep, in the marketing.
up in
Pardon?
Medina? Up in Medina?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was back then when the corporate office was in Medina. In that
Yeah.
role, I had more of the advertising, marketing, communications. I wasn't responsible for product development there, so it was a little bit different twist. So that was a great learning as well, as I hadn't spent a lot of time in just traditional classic advertising, branding, communications. So that allowed me to learn and just get deeper and fine tune my skills.
One of the things I always thought, so I used to do business with Polaris in my previous life, and boy, going out there and seeing that facility in Medina, and they've got that track out back, and everyone's got a helmet or something like boots or something like that outside their workstation and all that stuff. Did you ever get to go out on the track and mess around with any of that stuff, or were you pretty isolated from that?
Oh no, absolutely. They encourage, it's a lifestyle, and they encourage employees to experience, and it adds a whole nother dimension to how you market, how you do product development. And they absolutely encourage that. And we also, there was an engineering facility in Wyoming, Minnesota, where you could really ride. And I have ATV, I have a Polaris Ranger and a Polaris Sportsman here that our family uses all the time. So yeah, it was very passionate culture and the love for riding.
Yeah. So spent some time there, and then you went to another, like a whole nother different ball game, and what I'm just going to call commodities or food, I guess, or something like that. I mean, I even met a guy that works for Cargill, and he's in salt. And so like all these different areas, what area so Cargill's massive, and I know that they're very intrapreneurial, so they give you kind of segments and let you kind of run with it because they're so big. What area did you spend in Cargill?
Yes, I was in the animal nutrition BU. So I was responsible for equine and backyard poultry. So while Cargill at its core is a commodity-based business, in that business, we were adding value so that you could, obviously set yourself apart in the marketplace. So we developed horse feed and poultry feed.
Yeah, I
Yeah, so
probably buy that stuff. Yeah.
Who knew I could go from lawnmowers to horses? So, and that was a key learning for me along the way too, is I didn't have a passion for lawnmowers. I didn't have a passion for, computer services, and I didn't have a passion for pools, right? But the common denominator in that is what I went back to, is the strategic marketing function. And it doesn't matter what your product or service is if you approach it from a strategic marketing perspective, find the unmet need, everything else falls down. You'll learn the product, you'll learn the service. So really some strong fundamentals I have learned along the way.
So you're at King Technology now, and pool product manufacturer, national distribution, probably global distribution. We've talked about all that stuff you and I have in the past, and I think it's a really cool business, and it's a sleepy little business here in the Twin Cities that not very many people have heard about, but people recognize the brand. So when you went there and you took over, so you're the head of marketing there. When you took that function over, what were some of the things that you learned from the time at Toro and Geek Squad and Cargill and then Polaris all together that you right away just wanted to pull the trigger on and apply right off the bat?
Yes. So yeah, King Technology, we're in the hot tub in pool business. So Fantastic culture. There's so many great things about the organization, and we were really small when I started there, and we've seen, you know, explosive growth, which has been so fun to be part of. So the team, the marketing team, a lot of passion, and probably not the most classically trained, and that was fine, and that's okay. That's kind of why they brought me in. So one of the first things I noticed there is we needed to build capabilities within structure. So, you know, a traditional research function, traditional digital, they just didn't have the classic capabilities in place. So I've been able to build that over my 9 years. So now we have, you know, classic research, we have classic communications, we have a design team, we have a traditional classic product development team and a digital team. So it was just to build that, and I got that view from all of those organizations of where's the gap. And then I was quickly able to build capabilities within my team, and we're a team of 11. And I think when I came there was 5, 4 maybe. And no one was classically trained in marketing, but that was okay. That was what I was there to bring and just instill those fundamentals, and build the organization and the capabilities.
What's your favorite part about your job right now?
Leading my team. It's no one function. It's just, I love my team. I just fiercely loyal to them. They are amazing, can do attitude, smart. We all share the same values, that's one thing I really learned at King Technology is when you align values, great things happen. And that is absolutely, we are all in the trenches together. We support each other. I know personal things. At first, when I went there, I was like, why are they asking me about, you know, my husband or what we did the weekend? It just was so, they truly wanted to get to know me and my family. And that was different. And it was, at first I was like, I'm church and state, you know, like we don't do this in corporate. But we do at King Technology. And I think that's a difference maker is we truly care not only about the employee, but the employee's family.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too, you know, you look at your career trajectory until you got to King and you worked for these big, many of them were publicly traded. And so, you know, that everything lived and died by what Wall Street was saying, except for Cargill, but they're just, you know, they're their own entity. And I think they're the largest privately held in the world. So they just can kind of do whatever they want, but it's still very corporate, where this is like, you've got, being the head of marketing, you've got a direct line to the CEO who's, you know, just, you know, it's a family owned business. So what was that whole feeling like, being able to have that type of environment? Was that, I had to be just a breath of fresh air.
It was. And I learned that I'm really adaptable, and I can go into the largest privately held company in the world to a very small local company, and be happy and do great things and build. The thing I love many things about King Technology, but I would say Joe, who's the owner and CEO, Joe King, phenomenal leader, phenomenal man. He always says we're playing the long game. We make decisions and we make investments, whether it's people, processes, doesn't matter. We play the long game. And even if that long game is really hard and we're all looking at each other like, how in the hell are we going to pull this off? We play the long game. We do not worry about quarters. We don't worry. I mean, obviously we have to be fiscally responsible, but we're not making short-term decisions that are going to have negative long-term implications. And it is a breath of fresh air. We were growing. We've been so fortunate, you know, just explosive growth over the last 7 years. I think I started there, we're like 30 some people. Now we're close to 90, and still growing and still hiring despite the economy, and COVID was good for our business, but we had all the fundamentals in place before all of that. So our business just took off like a, you know, it's like a hockey stick trajectory.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think the future holds for you? Like, where do you want to go with your career and continuing to drive the value that you're doing at King? And then I'm not even talking about like some of the like I'm not trying to say like, are you trying to look for another job or anything like that? Not at all. What I'm asking is like, how do you want to use your skills to continue to grow and have impact on greater society, and the greater community?
Yeah, great question. One of the things that's on my 10-year plan, I have a passion for children. And ask anybody, it's almost kind of creepy. I'm like, oh, can I hold your baby? You know, they come into the office and everyone's like, oh, Jackie's going to get the baby. So what I would love to do is give back on a board, and whether it's, you know, Children's of Minnesota, something with children, and where I can help. You know, my heart, I have a huge heart for children. They're just so innocent and I want to help. But that's one of the things that I want to do is use my skills and talents in time. Once, probably I got a couple years here until I get out of the hockey. Very time consuming and love it. But I'd like to give back on a board and serve on a board that is focused on helping children. And I think I could bring a lot to them.
Anybody who knows me knows that all of a sudden I hear something like that, my wheels start turning. And I have a couple friends that have nonprofits that are actually actively looking for people to help from a board standpoint, and specifically from a marketing standpoint, which is bonkers. And so let's touch base on that after this, because I think I might be able to have nothing maybe you need to do right now because you have so much going on, and we're going to get into your family dynamics too. But so anyway, let's just park that because I might have something for you. So yeah,
Fantastic.
let's talk about your family a little bit. So you've been with your husband for over 20 years. You've got kids that when you were talking about your accident, and your kids are the age that you were when you had your accident. So that is even more like, whoa, in your face. So you've got kids that are in their teens, in high school, and getting ready to transition into college. Tell me about the chaos that is your place right now.
How much time do you have, Aaron? Oh, okay.
And how much alcohol?
Yes, yes,
Right.
I like wine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so both boys, I have Colton is 17 and senior at Waconia, and Connor is 14. He's a freshman at Waconia. They both are year-round hockey players. And anyone who knows anything about hockey, it is a time intense, very tight culture, and we love it. I still remember the day when Jeff took Colton to, it was learn to skate. He was 3 years old. They both started at 3. And I was like, we had this agreement, like, we're not going to do this. And I still remember the day they left and went to go for learn to skate. And I'm like, uh-oh, buckle up. Here we go. Yeah. And to be honest, I was against it at first. And it has been the best thing that's for the boys. For us, some of our best friends are in our hockey group. So we do spend a lot of time. We do, you know, it's every night. At least one of them has a game or practice, or maybe 2 every single day. And that goes through year round. Huge game changer when Colton got his license. It was like, holy cow, this is amazing when they can drive themselves to the rink at 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
And they both play baseball. And I think in a summer we'll have about 90 games. So that's pretty intense. And they do hockey every day or I should say 4 to 5 days a week in the summer as well. Wow. And then Connor is playing football. So needless to say, you add all that up, and Jeff and I both have corporate jobs. We're busy. And
you and I, we talked about living on, farm living and country living and stuff like this, but you take it to another level, which this is the craziest thing that is going to come out of my mouth, is that not only do you have 2 boys that are all over the place, and you've said this to me, you're the only female in the joint, and so you're trying to help run the show and stuff. You also, on the side, you farm, like legit farm.
Yes.
What is going on? I
personally don't, but
yeah, but
Jeff
your
and
family
the boys,
does. Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, we have a farm. We're a corn and soybean farm. If you would have told me 9 years ago that I was going to be a farmer's wife, I would have told you you're crazy. And I learned it's not for the faint of heart. I'm going to tell you that now. Jeff is an incredibly hard worker. And when it comes time for planting or harvest, you're pulling 20-hour days until it's done. And if there's rain coming, you are working around the clock. And it is incredibly intense those few weeks of the year. But he loves it. He's something that he does with his dad. His dad is 81, 82, and still this may be his last year with the crop farming. But yes, it is. Thank a farmer is all I'm going to say is thank a farmer.
I think I've said this multiple times on this show, and just because of the exposure that I have to so many farmers in my community, is that I think farmers are the best business owners. They do the work. They have to think strategically. They have to think high level. You have to have your head on a swivel at all times, but then you also have to make sure you're profitable. And there's so many different levers you have to pull. Nobody is a better business person than a farmer.
Yeah, I didn't give him the credit. I wasn't exposed to, futures and all that kind of stuff and, locking in your price. It's incredibly advanced. And I didn't give it the credit, quite frankly, on the technologies that you use, just the fiscal thinking of, okay, what are futures going to do? What's Brazil doing? All these places where there's competition. And you gotta be planful.
Yep. Okay. I could sit here and talk to you all day. So we're all right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to listen to a few of our community supporters. We're going to come back. Jackie's really excited to do 9 questions. She called me yesterday to tell me that. So we're going to take a quick break, listen to a few, and come back with Jackie. Verseek Search and Consulting is thrilled to support Coalition 9 and this podcast, and we are just as excited to have them as a partner. Verseek is a Minnesota-based, high-performance recruiting firm that specializes in interim solutions, direct hire, and executive leadership search. Their team of experienced professionals and seasoned leaders across various areas of expertise and industries have been in your shoes. They quickly assess your whole company and identify key elements that will take your business to the next level. Your company's success hinges on the capacity of your people, and few areas of your business are more critical than your finance and accounting team. Your company's success hinges on the capacity of your people. Verseek can help connect you with the talented candidates within finance and accounting, along with other areas of expertise in executive search, direct hire, and interim solutions. People are the ultimate business advantage. Find your people together with Verseek and make the best possible for your business. Learn more and contact Verseek by visiting verseek.com and following them on LinkedIn. If you're an entrepreneur or married to one, your journey is complex. You want financial advice that impacts your whole net worth, including your business, not just stock market investments. You also want a partner that quarterbacks the relationships between the CPA, estate planner, banker, and other trusted advisors. That's where the team at eWealth Partners comes in. We love helping you and your spouse design a financial plan that aligns and empowers you. A plan that addresses your concerns, priorities, and goals tailored to reach your long-term vision. A long-term vision that is worth the pursuit today. Visit ewealthpartners.com to learn how they can help couples like you. eWealth Partners, holistic financial planning for entrepreneurs. Investment advisor services offered through AdvisorNet Wealth Management. eWealth Partners and AdvisorNet Wealth Management are not affiliated. If you're anything like me, you know enough to be dangerous when it comes to finance, yet need some help when things get complicated. All-in-One Accounting provides the right financial expertise and leadership to align with your stage of growth. From outsourced accounting and bookkeeping to strategic financial planning, the team of accounting rock stars at All-in-One Accounting are passionate about positively impacting the businesses and lives of their clients. You need to check them out at allinoneaccounting.com. All-in-One Accounting, taking our clients from financial chaos to business clarity and beyond. The topic of talent is hot in organizations of any size, and I would argue none more than small to mid-sized businesses. That's why it's crucial to have a partner to help you navigate all the HR idiosyncrasies so you can focus on working on your business and not in it. Insperity is a full-service HR partner with a high-touch, high-tech platform helping owners work through challenges like employee retention, company culture, and benefits, just to name a few. Do yourself a favor and explore all they have to offer at Insperity.com. Insperity, HR that makes a difference. United Healthcare is dedicated to helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone by simplifying the healthcare experience, meeting consumer health and wellness needs, and sustaining trusted relationships with care providers. UHC is continually focused on building a modern, high-performing health system via improved access, affordability, outcomes, and experiences. With a network of over 1.6 million physicians and healthcare professionals in over 6,000 hospitals, United Healthcare is dedicated to connecting employers and their employees to better health by offering quality benefits designed for affordability. For more information, visit United Healthcare at www.uhc.com. United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives. In addition to the community supporters you heard from on the show today, I also want to give a quick shout out to our evolving level of community supporters, Carlson Partners, Fluid Interiors, Keystone Group International, Modern Foundation, and Rev Advisory Group. All right, we're back with Jackie Rieck, and we are ready to go with 9 questions. Jackie, I'm gonna say I threw a couple of new ones in there, so I could smell blood in the water when you called me, and so I was like, okay, well, I gotta throw a couple of new ones because you like studied up and like listened to episodes to try and mentally prepare. So I'm like, well, so the worst thing you could have done was called me.
Clearly.
Right. So, but they're going to be fun. Can you confirm to me you have no idea what I'm about to ask you?
I have no idea, and I'm terrified.
All right. Calm down. First question. What was your first concert?
I'm not a huge concert person, but it was Neil Diamond.
Oh, yeah. Well, he just kind of did his last one, and say he's dealing with dementia, Alzheimer's, and he still knows the words to Sweet Caroline.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything else, but he knows the words to Sweet Caroline.
Wow, isn't that amazing what your brain? Wow.
Yeah. Name one thing on your bucket list.
Go skydiving with my son when he turns 18.
Are you going to do it? Like, do it?
Yeah. Do it. Yeah, do it. In June.
Where are you going?
I have no idea. We're going to figure it out. There's a place in Winstead, I think. And then there's a place just over the border in Wisconsin. Those are the 2 places I'm looking at.
Sometimes, depending on where the wind goes, I can see them dropping people from our farm because we live just south of Winstead. So yeah, sometimes. So keep me posted on all that. Maybe I'll take a shot from my house if the wind's blowing the right way. Okay. Third question. So I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with this. So let's see. If you could give a TED talk on anything except something related to your career, what would it be?
You're probably right. Where I'm going to go with this is never give up, no matter what's in front of you. No matter how big the challenge or the mountain is, you can do it. Yeah. And I think too from your time on all the things that you had to deal with, it being 16 and going through all that stuff, but then also owning a farm and having this family and right, like just all that craziness. Like, I just think there's so many aspects you could take that TED talk, and it'd be fascinating. Would you rather have super sensitive taste buds or super sensitive hearing? I'm going to go with taste buds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with taste buds. I like food, so that would be exciting. Yeah,
taste everything. Like I think like dogs can smell like every single thing and kind of dissect it. Kind of think about it like that. Would that be good to think of that? That could also be a bad thing.
Yeah, that could be bad. I'm gonna go with taste buds.
All right. Did you have one of those? Okay, next question. Did you have one of those fancy lunch boxes with characters on it when you went to school?
Gosh,
do you remember lunch boxes that had characters?
I do. I think I had a metal one, but I couldn't tell you. There's probably Looney Tunes or something on it. I don't know, but I wasn't a big. We just ate the lunches at school. If I did bring it, I believe I had one of those old school metal ones with that little latch.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you what was on it, but I do remember a metal one.
All right, cool. That I think I had a Dukes of Hazzard one. And then I definitely had a G.I. Joe one. So I got that was one thing that I got, I grew up in pretty lower middle class family myself. And so we always got a new lunchbox every year. So I love that.
Fantastic. Something to look forward to.
Heck yeah. Describe to me the perfect sandwich.
The perfect sandwich. Okay. Grilled sourdough bread, turkey, pepper jack cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion, and bacon pepper jam.
Man, that sounds like something that you duplicate.
Yeah? I have it dialed in, Aaron.
Yeah, you do have it dialed in. God, I love sandwiches. Would you rather be the funniest person in the room or the smartest person in the room?
Funniest.
Amen, sister. Yep.
Funniest,
Me too. Yeah.
yeah. Being
You can
smart
have,
is one thing, but to have the connections and the relationships and a sense of humor. I mean, we we all work so hard that we take it serious, right? But you need to have the fun and the laughter and like, what are we doing if we're not having fun? So I'd be the funniest. I'm not the funniest, but I would want to be the funniest.
Taking all things that we've talked about in your past aside, what is the stuff outside of all that that motivates you?
I would say at the end of the day, I want to be proud of myself and feel good of the things that I've done and accomplished and got through. So I would say it's, just I want to be proud at the end of the day when I'm on my deathbed and I look back and I'm going to go, I had a great life and I'm proud of what we've built together as a family and work and how I conducted myself. So I want to be proud of myself at the end of the day.
Yeah, kind of left it all on the field.
Absolutely. That's one thing I say to my boys is leave it all on the ice.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Okay, you've survived 8. We got one more. It's right. This isn't that bad. Give me a break. If you could have dinner with 3 people, alive or dead, who would those 3 people be?
Elvis, uh, John Maxwell or Mel Robbins, that's either, and Martin Luther King.
Oh, good answer. Wow,
Are
that
we
would be.
done with 9? Was that 9?
Yeah, that was a good answer. That was a great mix of 3 people. I always like that one because some people put personal people in there, but that would be a crazy good meal.
Yeah.
And
Oh gosh.
imagine having dinner with those 3 people with super sensitive taste buds.
With a glass of wine, it'd be fantastic.
It would be. See, you survived. That wasn't that bad. Jackie, more people need to know how need to know you and how to get a hold of you, all that stuff. So please share with me how people can reach out to you, get to know you, and things like that, because I think we're just kind of whetting their appetite a little bit here.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I feel like my cheeks hurt because I've been smiling this whole time and I can't believe we're already at 50 minutes.
I know.
They can reach out to me on LinkedIn. They could also email me at jackie.rieck@gmail.com. Those would be a couple ways where they could reach out to me, and I would love to meet other fabulous leaders in the community.
I'll hot link all that stuff in our show notes in both whatever podcast people listen to, and then on our YouTube channel and things like that. And and at the end of the day, like, I'm super thrilled to have you as part of our community. It's people like you, like good people first, and you live it every day. It's evident in the way you carry yourself, and your character is very evident in all the things you've been through. So I just have to say I'm super proud to have you as part of our community, and that's what makes Coalition9 great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You are such a great human and leader and have built great things. And I'm just glad I get to be part of C9 and be a friend. And this is, we'll talk farming next time we see each other.
We do. That's typically the first thing we go to. And then all the business BS stuff comes second. So, all right, Jackie, you were great to have on the show. On behalf of Jackie Rieck, this is Aaron Eggert, and this is the Power of 9 podcast. And I want to thank you for the privilege of your time.